Hi students, today you are going to learn about the humerus. So we have a pair of humerus, one on the left side and one on the right side. So it is a bone of the arm and it is an example for the long bone. So let's go to the side determination points for the humerus. So see how it is articulated in the skeleton. So in this same pattern you have to hold it for side determination. So the points for side determination. First point, the head of the humerus, it should faces medially as well as upwards. The lesser tubercle, which is nothing but a smaller elevation present on the anterior aspect of upper end, it should faces anteriorly. And this is the greater tubercle, it should faces laterally. When you see the lower end of the humerus, it is expanded and it is flattened, it should be lower. And if you see the upper end, it is rounded, it should be facing upper. Then last point of side determination is olecranon fossa. It lies at the posterior aspect of the lower end. It should directed posteriorly or it is directed backwards. So that's all the points for side determination. So let's go to the features of the humerus. So humerus has three parts: upper end, shaft and the lower end. So upper end appears to be spherical or rounded, whereas the lower end appears to be expanded and flattened. Then if you see the shaft, it is cylindrical, and in the upper part it is rounded, whereas in the lower part it appears to be triangular. Now go to the upper end of the humerus. Upper end. So upper end, it has a head of the humerus. This head of the humerus will go and articulate with the glenoid cavity of the scapula to form shoulder joint. Then if you see near to this head, there is a line. So a line which separating the head from the remaining part of the upper end. So this is called as anatomical neck of the humerus. Then a projection, smaller projection which is present on the anterior aspect of the humerus is known as lesser tubercle. Then this one is a greater tubercle which is again an elevation present on the lateral end of the lateral part of the upper end. Head of the humerus, anatomical neck of humerus, lesser tubercle which is nothing but elevation or a prominent which is present on the anterior aspect of the upper end. Greater tubercle, it is again an elevation, larger elevation present on the lateral part of upper end. So now if you observe between the two tubercles, they have an intertubercular sulcus or bicipital groove. Intertubercular sulcus or bicipital groove. It has two lips. The lips are, this one is medial lip and this one is the lateral lip. Medial lip of bicipital groove and lateral lip of bicipital groove. Then what is there in between? So in between is called as the floor of the bicipital groove. In between is a floor for the bicipital groove. Now, so this is the constructed part where it lies between the shaft and the upper end. So this constructed part is called as surgical neck of the humerus. Surgical neck of the humerus. Then this greater tubercle has three impressions on the posterior aspect. Impressions are upper impression, middle impression, middle impression, lower impression. So three impressions will be there on the posterior aspect of the greater tubercle. So upper end over. Now coming to the shaft. So shaft, I already told you, the upper part of the shaft is rounded, whereas the lower part it is appears to be triangular in shape. So now shaft has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. The borders are anterior border, medial border, lateral border. Surfaces are anteromedial surface, anterolateral surface and posterior surface. So now let's go to the anterior surface. Now let's go to the anterior border. So anterior border starts from lateral lip of bicipital groove. Lateral lip of bicipital groove, it runs downwards. When it comes to the lower end, this anterior border appears to be smooth and rounded. So at the middle of the anterior border, it forms the anterior margin for deltoid tuberosity. So this is the deltoid tuberosity. So this anterior border of shaft, it forms anterior margin of deltoid tuberosity. So there is a V-shaped deltoid tuberosity is present. So among which the anterior margin of deltoid tuberosity is formed by anterior border. Anterior border starts from lateral lip of bicipital groove, runs downwards, forming the anterior margin of deltoid tuberosity. When it comes to the lower end, it is forming smooth and rounded one. So anterior border over. Then coming to medial border. Medial border, it starts from medial lip of bicipital groove. It runs downwards. When it comes to the lower part of the humerus, it appears to be very prominent. It is called as medial supracondylar ridge. Medial supracondylar ridge. It starts from medial lip of bicipital groove and it runs downwards. When it comes to the lower part, it is very prominent. Then that is called as medial supracondylar ridge. Then coming to the lateral border. So lateral border, it starts from posterior aspect of greater tubercle. Posterior aspect of greater tubercle. It runs downwards. When it comes to the lower part, it is very prominent and it is called as lateral supracondylar ridge. Lateral border starts from posterior part of greater tubercle, runs downwards. When it comes to the lower part, it is very prominent and it is called as a lateral supracondylar ridge. So 3 borders with the 3 different colors. This is the medial border and this is lateral border, and you have here as the anterior border. So 3 borders over. So now let's go to the surfaces. Surfaces, I already told you 3 surfaces are there. So now between the medial border and the anterior border, the surface present is called as anteromedial surface. Anteromedial surface. This entire surface is called as anteromedial surface. So now between the lateral border and the anterior border, this entire surface is called as anterolateral surface. Anterolateral surface. Then if I turn the humerus like this, you have here as the lateral border and you have here as the medial border. Medial border and lateral border. So between these two, you have a surface present is called as posterior surface. I'll repeat. Anteromedial surface lies between medial border and anterior border. Anterolateral surface lies between anterior border and lateral border. Posterior surface lies between the lateral border and the medial border. So now, what are the features present in each surface? So this is anterolateral surface. At the middle of anterolateral surface, there is a V-shaped rough impression is there, which is called as deltoid tuberosity. Then, just below the deltoid tuberosity, there is a presence of radial groove or a spiral groove. Then, coming to the anteromedial surface. So, anteromedial surface which contains nutrient foramen. So, this is the nutrient foramen. So, where the nutrient artery is passing. Then next is a posterior surface. So, in this posterior surface at the middle, we have also presents a radial groove or a spiral groove. So, spiral groove will be present on the posterior surface as well as the anterolateral surface. See here, this is the spiral groove or the radial groove. Okay. So, shaft over. Coming to the lower end of the humerus. So, lower end of the humerus, if you see, it appears to be expanded from side to side and it is flattened from before backwards, flattened. So, now the lower end of the humerus is projected medially as well as laterally. So, this medial projection is called as medial epicondyle of the humerus. And this lateral projection, smaller projection when compared to medial epicondyle, then this smaller projection is called as lateral epicondyle. Then it has, the lower end has articular part and non-articular part. The articular part means it will go and articulate with other bones and to forming a joint. A non-articular part means it will not go and articulate with the bones. So, it is called as non-articular part. So, articular part is capitulum and trochlea. So, capitulum will articulate with the head of the humerus. The trochlea will articulate with the trochlea notch of ulna. See this trochlea. It articulates with trochlea notch of ulna. So, these two are the articular parts of lower end of humerus. Coming to non-articular part of the lower end of humerus. So, if you see just above the capitulum, there is a shallow fossa is there. This is called as radial fossa, where the head of the radius is coming and lodging over here when we are doing elbow flexion. Then this is supposed to be the fossa. Here some variation is there. See, opening is there, so it is a foramen. It is the abnormal one. Normally it is like a fossa only. So, this fossa is called as coronoid fossa. Okay, there will not be a foramen, it is appears to be a fossa similar like radial fossa. This fossa is called as coronoid fossa, where the coronoid process of ulna is coming and lodging over here when the elbow is flexed. So, these two are non-articular parts. Then coming to one more non-articular part which is lying at the posterior aspect of the lower end of the humerus. This is called as olecranon fossa, and this is also appears to be the fossa, but here it is appears to be a foramen. This is a variation, abnormal one. So, this olecranon fossa will occupy the olecranon process when the elbow is in extension. So, this is one of the non-articular part. So, lower end has two bony projections on the medial side as well as lateral side. They are medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. Articular parts are capitulum and trochlea. Non-articular parts are radial fossa, coronoid fossa and olecranon fossa. So, that finishes the features of the humerus.